Banana, banana, banana. Oh, a fruit. Tunaweka kwa basket eh? Watermelon tena? Watermelon. Papaya. Mboni? Na kijana barobaro mwenye nguvu? Naam? Sawa sawa. Kwa hivyo unajibu tu. Tunaanza na Maber, Jaber na nilikuwa nimeambiwa Ondiek. Ondiek. Ni kweli? Nani? Niliuliza tu nikapewa hilo jina. Ataitwa nani? Sinipe tu msamiati na mtu mmoja jamani. Wa hapa jamaa wa Kilua ambaye ako na nguvu kabisa vizuri. Misuri Tinginya. I wish nimeambiwa tu nikajua tu hilo jina. Haya. Utasema tu vile unajua, lakini kama uko hapo tafadhali nipe msamiati. Hapa Kisumu ni kuzuri, Maber. Sawa? Una respond hivyo. Hapa Kisumu ni kuzuri. Hapa Kisumu ni kuzuri. Ukiona mrembo muite. Ukiona mrembo muite. Kijana mzuri tamuita. Kijana mzuri tamuita. Hapa sasa tunashika njia Alafu uchangamkie nyimbo jamani. Hapa Kisumu ni kuzuri. Hapa Kisumu ni kuzuri. Msichana mrembo tamuita. Msichana mrembo tamuita. Kijana mzuri tamuita. Kijana mzuri tamuita. Kisumu kuzuri, Maber. Kisumu kuzuri. Kisumu kuzuri. Hapa sitoki. Hapa sitoki. Kama nitatoka nipewe Jaber nibebe. Nitapata mmoja wa kubeba? Jaber moja niende naye jamani. Sawa, wimbo mara ya mwisho mweke kanungo Sawa, acha atafute. Aya njooni. Kujeni kwa floor. Aya asante. Kidogo bije. Yule mwanadada mwenye kavalia nguo nyekundu. Njoo tafadhali, kuja harakisha kidogo. Njoo. Harakisha tafadhali. Mwalimu njoo. Mwalimu njoo tafadhali. Mlete. Mwalimu njoo tafadhali. Tuharakishe kidogo tukisubiri. Tuingie ukumbini tafadhali walimu. Walimu tuingie ukumbini. Yule mwanadada tunakusubiri tafadhali. Mwalimu njoo tafadhali. Njoo mwalimu tunakusubiri. Unasema uwekewe kanungo uimbe na mara umeketi chini. Unaangusha mbogi wewe kabisa. Mwalimu nini mbaya? Njoo. Nani anataka kumsaidia kidogo? Nani huyo? Njoo. Nataka kusaidia. Anasema utamsaidia kidogo. Njoo kidogo. Tupe volume kidogo DJ sasa. Tuamkeni sasa basi. Tuamke kidogo. Tuamke kidogo walimu. Tuamke. Twende kila mtu kidogo. Tafuta space pale. Twende. Stand by kila mtu twende. Hapa. Twende sasa. Pole. Bora sioni ya kanungo kasema kanungo. Pale Frida popote ulipo. Unapatikana pale nje kutoka Western. Pale Frida tafadhali. Asante. sawa, twende. Twende sasa. Kila mtu jamani, changamka kidogo. Twende. Staki ndio sasa. Twende. Asante. Msikae chini kidogo. Baba Murugu, njoo kidogo. Njoo kidogo madam. Msikae chini tafadhali. Nataka tupeleke maeneo ya Eastern pale. Ni wangapi wanatambua Karishi? Ni wangapi wanatambua Karishi? Sindia, tupeleke maeneo ya Eastern kule kidogo. Njoo madam, njoo kidogo. Kila mtu sasa twende kidogo tu. Kila tukapite kidogo. Sauti kidogo. Twende. Haya. Twende kila mtu katika. Twende sasa hapo. Haya. Kila mtu twende basi. Dance kidogo. Wewe. Twende sawa. Wewe. Hapo sasa. Hivi tunapongezi. Twende Madam Murugu, twende. Haya hapo sasa, twende sasa. Haya. Wewe acha kuangalia, cheza ngoma pia kibambe kidogo. Wewe. Maisha ukiwa kama ya paka. Huko hapa mbele kidogo. Karibia. Twende, karibia. Hapo sasa. Tuwapigie makofi. Watu wa Western mko ndani ya nyumba. Twende kwa Waluya kidogo. Mabega, tutayarisha mabega kidogo. Are you ready? Kila mtu twende sasa.
Hello. I'm urgently looking for Valefrida. She needs to be taken care of urgently. That's the urgency. I don't know what county she comes from. I don't know what region she comes from. But she talked to me and I really need to, she has a concern that I really need to take care of. So if you know Valefrida, if you have seen her, please send me.
Valefrida tafadhali. Twende sasa kila mtu twende. Nipe sauti kidogo. Kila mtu twende sasa twende. Kila mtu twende sasa. Kidogo. Twende. Hey. Nipe ile sauti kidogo tafadhali. Wameka kidogo. Let's go. Haya. Siwaoni jamani. Twende sasa. Ufuatilie staili yake sasa kidogo. Twende. Hello. Inaitwa Samantha, inaitwa Samantha man. Haya wakale, twende kwenu tu kidogo. Watu wa Rift Valley pale, si ndio? Wangapi wanajua hii Samantha? Twende kila mtu kidogo. Haya, tunazia pole pole. Twende. International. Tuwasikia mkipiga duru wala kwa hizo wengine ndani sasa ndio tuanze. Twende. Haya, wewe. Twende. Asanteni sana, tujipigie makofi jamani. Mombasa, hata usute ujakoma wewe kidudu mtu. Halo, workshop tunayo hatuna? Workshop yavu noti. Kaeni chini, kwendeni huko. Okay, asanteni sana. Mr. Okwacho? Tialala.
Thank you very much, Wana Murigi. That was a wonderful energizer. So as we had communicated before lunch, we want to have a very a brief session here in the afternoon. We have our sponsors, the Higher Education Loans Board, that is HELB. And then after that, we're going to have a session on stand-up comedy. So at this juncture, let me invite Madam Jacqueline Sikolia on behalf of HELB to come and do a brief presentation that she says will take about 15 to 20 minutes. Karibu sana, Madam Jacqueline. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. The chairman, the secretary, the vice chair of the executive committee, the committee members, fellow partners. I'm told you're avoiding the word sponsor. So let me use that, partners. We are partners. Adjudicators and trainers, good afternoon. Habari zenu? Have we ever heard about HELB? How many of us are beneficiaries of HELB loan? Ooh. I can see a good number. I am also a beneficiary of HELB loan. So this is our first ever engagement with the drama and music festivals. Someone said yesterday that there are usually those who are coming in and those that are exiting. So we are coming in this year that is coming, and we really appreciate this opportunity that you have given to partners to tell their story. So for this year, HELB wants to work with you in driving Kenya's development. We would like to tell our story of HELB financial literacy, through creative performance. So that is why we are here, to partner with you. And as you see, HELB is also under the Ministry of Education, just that we are under a different umbrella, the State Department for Higher Education. However, the mother ministry, we are in the same ministry. So I would like to say a little bit about HELB, just for that other person who does not have the information. HELB was established in 1995, although there are loans that were given by the Ministry of Education earlier than that. So under the HELB Act 1995, it was established so that it can fund students in higher education. HELB gives loans, bursaries, and scholarships to institutions of higher learning. So that is the mandate that HELB was given by the law to take care of higher education financing. So our lending story over years, HELB so far has financed 1.9 million Kenyans and spent 195B. We were told by Equity you can be given 55B. But HELB has given 195B. That is money from the exchequer. It is your money that finances you, and after you are given the loan, you pay back to finance another. So for the current financial year, we are hearing a lot of stories on students missing out on loans, because the funding usually in all environments, it goes lower while demand or many people would like to get the loan. We require about 72 billion to finance this year. But you can see that is like about half of what we have funded so far. So as we go on, the funding will be bigger, and HELB exists so that financial background of a student or a Kenyan student is not blocked, does not block that student to pursue education or access education as it is. So we try to bridge the gap so that the student can be able to learn. So we are interested in this drama festival because we have performances that will be performed by students who transit to higher education. And therefore, the information that they will be able to perform about, they can disseminate it to their friends. They can even use it to know that once I am through with this senior school, I am able to be financed by HELB and study a course, either in TVET institution or universities. So we can see the numbers over years. The years, for example, 2024, the candidates that sat for KCSE were 962,000. And then 180,000 were placed. Our partner Scoops might also come in and tell you about that. And then the TVET, they were placed 130. We can see there is a deficit of another group that do not get placed and do not get asked for funding. So where do these students go to? And this is the reason why we think the message should get out there and help those who do not know about this higher education funding. Now, I spoke about how we do funding. First, we give you the loan, then you repay, and whatever you're paying goes straight to the next student. So this is the repayment story. We can see 1.2 million worth 150B is already mature for repayment. However, out of that, we have 35 billion that is already repaid and cleared. If you look at the budget for this year, we need about 72B. However, so far, all these years, we've only collected 35B. We can't even fund them. So, financial literacy will ensure that the student goes in, applies for help, knowing that I need to repay this loan to help my next person who is coming into that education sector. So that is the information that we would like to give. We can see the defaulters, those who got the loan and they are not repaying. We have 43 billion seated out there that would help the 72B that we want to get for the next. So we are looking, that is the problem that we would like to solve, so that we have a culture, we can inculcate a culture in our students that when I am funded by the government, it is my responsibility to take care of the future. So that is what I've spoken about. There is low financial literacy, where students get the loans without even needing them. Ni watu wangapi tulipata loan na hata hatukuambia wazazi. They gave us, they were able to pay our fees, lakini tulikaa na hiyo pesa student center ikaishia huko, and then now it is time to repay, and when that money has not really helped you, then it will also be a problem for you to repay. So there is that weak repayment culture that we have. Wacha help wanishike. Mimi, I will not go and say I want to repay. And then there is the poor information out there. If we go to the villages, some of the parents will say, mtoto alipata C, hakuweza kwenda university, so hakuna hata funding. And then you tell them, nearest a few kilometers away, there is a technical training institute where the child can go for a diploma or a certificate course and be funded by HELP. So this is the information that we want to give out there. Our message direction is we want to empower dreams and secure the future. Our slogan for HELP is empowering dreams. You dream, you want to be a doctor, and then we empower that dream. And once we do that and you repay as the person who benefited, then you secure a future for the next generation. The areas that we would like to take part in, of course, the level I've spoken about, that is the senior school or secondary school, because those are our next customers. And we are looking to take that message to both boys, girls, and the mixed schools. And also about the genres that we are going to perform in, we are still working with the executive committee to be able to advise us further on the budget that we have versus how many genres we can take part in. And therefore, we will be communicating to you further on the genres and the specific awards that we would like to give during those performances. If you give our message out there in your performances, we will recognize the top schools in each region. So we'll start at the regional level, then national levels awards for the first 3 top performers that have the HELP message. And then the winning trainers will be recognized in a special way. We will not say it here, but it will be a good reward. And then trophies for the 3 winning institutions at the national level, and then a dedicated award for a thematic award on financial literacy for the winning team. So we have many more that we will be able to consult further, because this is our first time. This is what we came up when we looked at our budget and thought we want to start to put our money in this creativity for our students and support creativity and also education. That will be pushing information to the public through creative arts. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. She has done us good, given us the information that we really needed. Because some of us, actually, we are beneficiaries of the help. But Jacqueline, I would assure you that teachers pay their help loan. Because sisi tunashikwa nini? Kwa koo. So sisi tuko sawa. Ama tuko sawa? Tuko sawa. But
thank you very much. For the teachers right now, TSC is our biggest collector. They pay us 180 million every month.
at least we are good. Good what? Debtors. Now, we want to just give a good, how do we do it? Can we do it the Kimeru way? Because we are not done it the Meru way. Can we all stand up and we are going to sing a Meru song? I'm going to teach you just a Meru song for her. We want to shower with honey and milk. Honey and milk. And first of all, I'll teach you. Now, kila mtu aseme, Naincho. Naincho. Elia. Elia. So na nikisema, Jacqueline wetu adhambwe na mbie. Unasema, adhambwe na Elia. Sema hivyo. Adhambwe na Naincho. Now let's go. Jacqueline wetu adhambwe na mbie. Enelia Eliaola. Adhambwe na Naincho. Are you ready now? Now can you dance? En Jacqueline wetu adhambwe na mbie. Enelia Eliaola. En Jacqueline wetu adhambwe na mbie. Adhambwe na Elia. Enelia Eliaola. Adhambwe na Naincho. That means Jacqueline, we are washing with honey and milk. Can we give a hand out clap? Now with that, we want to invite the next Calvin Hayemba to invite our next speaker.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I believe you had a wonderful lunch. So I'm privileged to invite our last speaker of the day to take us through the other side, that is the love factory. Our speaker is the lecturer at Pwani University. He's an accomplished English language and education specialist. He's an adjudicator. He has been an adjudicator at all levels and also a facilitator, the latest being 2025 drama festivals. He is also the author of the young adult fiction. He is an award-winning novella, including The Taste of Fame and many other young adult fiction books. He has also done research in humor in education. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Dr. Agwings Otieno as he takes us through creating 2026 comedy content for the digital stage. Can we welcome him with a hearty clap? Asante sana. I hope we shall all enjoy, and those who are aspiring to have presentations in this genre, I believe you are going to be well enriched. Asante sana na karibu sana.
Thank you very much. One thing today I've believed prayer works. It has reinforced my belief in prayer. I was told I was supposed to present just before lunch, and I was very worried because just before lunch the levels of impatience are at another level. And those who know that laughter when you are hungry is not that easy. Trying to present on laughter before lunch was going to be an uphill task, but prayers were answered and now you are here. You have no excuse. First of all, I'd like to declare that the drama committee, the KNDFF committee, has a sense of humor. Let me tell you why. Getting me all the way from Kilifi, 900 kilometers away, me, a PhD holder, nikuje hapa to talk about laughing. Niwache kazi zangu zote pwani, nije hapa to talk about laughter and how to cause laughter. That is not even what makes them have a sense of humor. One thing I know, and my friends have told me, I'm usually stone-faced mimi. Hiyo hata lile unajua. Why choose me to come and talk about laughter when I'm known to be stone-faced? Bado nashangaa. The perception that people have, I know, is that mimi sicheki ovyo ovyo. Sicheki na watu. The former ES knows that. He told me, wewe ubaya yako hata tukiwa kwa bench hata watu wacheki, unashtua watu. And now that same committee wananiambia nije niongee juu ya kucheka. That is strange. But anyway, I'm grateful because one thing, I might not be a comedian, and I am not a comedian. I'm declaring it from the onset. I am not a comedian. But I'm passionate about humor. I'm passionate about comedy. I can talk about it for hours on end. So if you are hoping to laugh and roll on the floor this afternoon, you will be disappointed. If you are prepared to laugh and split your ribs, you'll be disappointed. I'm not a comedian. I'll just talk about comedy. The perception that we have of comedians, you have heard people saying, we're only just a comedian. You have heard of that. If your MP does not perform well in parliament, that is just a comedian. In fact, there's a story that is told about comedians, Bob, you'll forgive me, that some guy was having an operation kwa theater. You have heard of this story. He was being operated on kwa theater. Then the operation involved removing his brain. Wakamweka kwa theater, they removed his brain and put it aside and started working on the brain. Then, unfortunately, the guy woke up when the brain was not there. The brain was being worked on and he woke up and escaped from the theater. After being looked for, he was found doing stand-up comedy somewhere in a hall. What does that tell you?
Are you the one? Are you the one?
He who laughs last, Bob told us, he who laughs last understands the joke last. Okay? Comedians are also thought to be very happy people. But there's also another story that illustrates that this is not necessarily true. There's a story about somebody who was very depressed and he went to a psychiatrist and he was telling the psychiatrist, I'm so depressed, I don't know what's going on, I feel like ending my life. I don't know what to do with life. I'm tired. The psychiatrist gave him some ideas and then told, by the way, on top of what I've told you, I'm told there's a comedian in town, there's a comedy show in town this evening. You can go and watch the comedy, perhaps it will lift up your spirits. The guy says, but I'm that comedian. That comedian, I'm the one. Comedy is not a joke. You know very well that much as there's a perception that it is in comedy too, those of you who read and you have gone online, you know how much money stand-up comedians make. If you Google online, look for somebody called Nate Bagata. He made $82 million on stand-up comedy, through stand-up comedy. Just search online. It is an unexploited field. In Kenya, it is not yet exploited. The other day, when I was on my way here, I had seen on Facebook some group was advertising a comedy show. And early bird was 1,000 shillings. Early bird 1,000 shillings. At the gate was 2,000. I went there, it was a small room and it was full, it was packed. But then the kind of jokes were rather pedestrian. And I said, this industry has not been exploited fully. And it is us here who can do something about lifting this industry to the levels that it's supposed to be. Okay? So, this is a field that has not been fully exploited. Let's move on. Let's start. I had not begun. But by the way, I said I'm not a comedian, but to support me, even if I make a joke that is dry, just laugh. appear, just laugh. It supports the presenter. And by the way, I'm happy. I thank my presenters who came before here. Most of them also presented beat routine after routine, and they made my work easy. So just laugh. There's no excuse for not laughing. Support the presenter. Okay? So let's identify the genre. As you see, a comedian presents a series of jokes before a live audience with the intention of provoking laughter. The immediate purpose of a comedian is to provoke laughter. Comedy is one of the most difficult genres because the feedback is immediate. You have to deliver on the spot. So the comedian wants to provoke laughter and talks to the audience directly. It is closely related to the narrative, but you see, the narrative is episodes which are connected by chronology, cause and effect. But comedy is made up of beats. Okay? Terminology. We need to know this terminology both as directors and even as potential adjudicators, so that when you're talking about comedy, you use terminology that can be understood. When you look at your rule book, you have these words. So you need to understand them. When you're going to adjudicate comedy, you also need to talk knowledgeably about comedy. So it's made up of routine, comprising a number of jokes. These are called beats. And a beat is made up of a setup, also known as a premise, and a punchline, which is the payoff. We shall have some illustrations. So it's important that we understand some of these terms, so that even when the adjudicator writes, you know what they are talking about on the comment sheet. And beats are joined or linked together by segues. That's how it is pronounced. Segues. Stress the first syllable. Segues. Zina join the beats. Okay? So a segue is just a transition between two beats. And then the other term is bombing. A bombed joke ni ile imekataa. You have tried, now it did not generate laughter. That's a joke that has bombed. Okay? Now, most of the comedy you have watched perhaps is from TV shows. And the comedy that we have, our genre in the KNDFF is a little different from what we watch on our TV shows. The differences are there for you to see. In the TV comedy, the popular comedies, the introduction is done by a compere. Compere is somebody who introduces the comedian. We don't have much of that here. Then clean content, time and cast limit, language use, sound amplification, and then audience composition. So before you lift what you see on TV to bring on the KNDFF stage, then you need to realize that those differences do exist. We can borrow, but we need to realize that those differences do exist. Now, the comedian's task is to elicit laughter. And this laughter can range from chuckles to laughter and roaring with peals of laughter, people rolling on the ground. I don't know whether that is, it happens. But laughter ranges from chuckling up to peals of laughter. But there are certain questions that we ask ourselves. These are some questions I might not have the answer to, but to provoke our thinking. Does humor always elicit laughter? Do we always laugh when there's humor? Does everybody laugh? Sometimes you realize there's humor, but do you always laugh? And can we have unexpressed laughter? Do all people laugh when there's humor? Sometimes I've heard people, I don't know that you have heard, somebody has made a joke, and instead of somebody laughing, hey, no, una ujinga sana. That is also a reaction to humor. So sometimes laughter is not the only reaction to humor. A story is told of people who laugh from inside. You meet a comedian, you made me laugh. I laughed. You killed it. You made me laugh. In fact, I'm still laughing. I'm still laughing. And you can't see the laughter on the face. So I saw Huntington at one time, a joke was made here, and I didn't see laughter on his face. All I could see was his shoulders moving up and down. I don't know, that's his style of appreciating humor. But laughter, in a group, laughter is contagious. There are things that you might laugh about while in a group, whereas when you are alone, huoni kitakuchekesha hapo. So laughter is contagious. And if you notice, when people are laughing, sometimes the laughter even becomes sweeter when you look at the face of somebody next to you. You end up even giving high fives to strangers because you are amused. That is the contagious nature of laughter. And again, some people just love to be in sync with others. Usionekane hukushika hiyo joke. It happens. I once attended a French festival. I didn't know it was in French. But so I had to appear to be also getting everything that was going on. So I had to keep on laughing. The problem that at one time I laughed and it was no time for laughter. Okay? So, laughter sometimes is more pronounced when people are in a group. And a good comedian, an effective comedian, is one who takes advantage and gives a group gives the audience that sense of superiority. You know, if you look at it critically, people laugh because you find that you feel a little superior to the comedian. In public. That is the idea that, this person is saying something that should not be said so much in public. Let's laugh. The human studies, we call it the superiority theory of laughter, that the audience feels a little superior. That is why we'll find that a good comedian is one who elevates the audience. The audience should feel superior to you as the comedian. Okay? Now, I want us to watch 2-3 short clips here, which will help me illustrate a few points as we continue from the festival. They are very brief.
Hawezi tupata na hizo mabeka pati matatu huku kwa person in Kenya? Who is the most senior person in Kenya? Senior president. Makofi. Swali ya pili. Mr. President ni yako juu, ni ya senior. After yeye, nani yako chini yake? Ati mnasema nani? Ni wote bumerao. Kwani hamjui ni nani? Niwaambie ni nani? Si ni mimi. Hamuamini? Okay, hamuamini? Si ni Mr. President hapa juu.
Okay, we will talk about that. Now, let's move on. Let's watch this one just briefly. The last one. After they have passed time, the last one.
Hata huko Nairobi mtoto akipewa dawa anapewa dawa either na yogurt ama soda, na anaambiwa mtoto tunapewa dawa mpaka unashindwa kweli uni mamangu kweli ama daktari ndio anakushika hivi mapua yeye pesa dawa ama uende Sayuni. Unaona hata huko Nairobi walimu wanapanga na content wakienda kwa assembly, unaona tu wanasema kitu na make sense, unaona mwalimu ameenda assembly. Good morning. As you all know, this week I'm on duty and I have some few communities to put across. First, punctuality is non-negotiable. Second, you should always be at the right place at the right time. And third, you should always be in full school uniform. Your mwalimu akiamua kuatishia, anawatishia na kitu tamu. Nasikia tu. And if a friend without full school uniform, we will fit in the same skirt. Okay? Naona kuna content. Sio kwa jamii nyingine wasikutu. Walimu hawapangi na content. Kitu wako nayo ni confidence. Good morning. Good morning once again. Good morning times 2. As you all know, this week I'm on duty. And allow me to echo what Mr. Njoroge said. That you should always be in class early. Also, allow me to echo what Mr. Njoroge echoed. That you should always be at the right place at the right time. Also, as I'm concluding, allow me to echo what our deputy principal echoed. That you should always be in full school uniform. Also, as I'm concluding the last thing, allow me to echo what I echoed last week.
Okay, thank you, Kola. Now, there are things that I'll talk about that I believe you have picked from those slices, those clips. Now, laughter triggers. The major one, the most common laughter trigger is the subverted expectations, where the setup prepares the audience to think of a certain way, to think in a certain way, and then all of a sudden the punchline surprises them with a twist. Look at that lady, the Mukorino, the Kamukorino. You remember? She told us about who is next to the president. And of course, people in the audience had already started murmuring, oh, vice, oh, whatever, deputy. And all of a sudden, there's a sudden twist, which we least expected because of that portrait. Okay? So that is misdirected, that is a trigger for laughter. Then mimicry, as the fellows have done, talking about the teachers on assembly, teacher who is echoing what was echoed. What I want to echo, what I echoed last week. Imitating familiar persons is a major trigger for laughter. If you get a comedian who is able to imitate someone who is known and caricature, a little bit of exaggeration, it triggers laughter. Then non-verbal communication, gestures, facial expression, body movement, posture. Remember the two comedians, the way their gestures are also laughter triggers. If you are training a comedian, then take care of their gestures. Okay? And then our festival has not reached a level of slapstick humor. Slapstick humor, slapstick comedy is that comedy which relies basically on actions rather than words. Our festival still is, we are still based on verbal expression of humor. We have not reached a level where we can have only basically action-based, that is called slapstick humor. Okay? Then juxtaposition of characters. You saw that you said walimu Nairobi, alafu walimu wale wengine. That's a common trigger of laughter. We compare this versus that. I remember there was a year, I can't remember which year, 2014 or 20 something, where there was the winning comedy where the comedian was comparing drama teachers to science teachers. So usually comparing and contrasting brings out humor, which triggers laughter. Then accents, very common. Although personally, I long for the day we will have humor based on the content rather than the accent that the performer must speak in a Luya accent or Dholuo accent or Gikuyu accent to bring out the humor. I long for when we shall have the humor based on the content rather than the imitating or stereotyping how different ethnic groups speak. Okay? Then sexual innuendo and allusion is rich in humor. I could see it here when presenters talked about things towards that side, towards the lower side of the waist. The rostrum. Somebody told a place, somebody asked her, it was September, and said, September babies, September babies, September babies, and people put up their hands and said, you are the people whose parents began the year with a bang. He who laughs last, Kushika. Okay? So sexual innuendo normally brings a lot of laughter. That the same year I was talking about the 2014, there was this comedian was talking about, who was telling the students when they go to visit a girls' school, they should be serious. When they go to, some of them, when you go to girls' school to see what they run there, you all become homo what? You remember? You become homo erectus. Au kushika hiyo, tuendelee. Panning. As you saw, those fellows talking about timekeeping. They were playing around with words. By the way, if you had time to see more of the clip, you would have seen they had a big clock, which they are using as a prop, which was passed from one person to another. Then they say, we are passing time. Then you are keeping time. You see, they are using that double meaning. Okay? I once tried to tell a joke about unemployed people. I once tried to tell jokes about unemployed people, but I found out that most of them don't work. Again, trouble. Nikushiba mmeshiba sana. Music comedy. Sometimes we can have music fused in a comedy, and this can be a trigger laughter, as Bob is going to demonstrate right away. Bob, good job.
Now, in music comedy, you either have a soundtrack that elicits laughter or a song that elicits laughter or a parody of lyrics that makes people to laugh. So let's say that there's a joke we did with Nyabondo High School in 2016, and it was saying that when teachers have salary, end month salary kiingia, walimu wanasikia wimbo za pesa. Ozanaka nayo dress mpolio, kula nyingi mshahara ni mingi. Wacha mwalimu akose pesa. Tarehe 10 kila mwalimu anageuka Rastafarian. Born to suffer. Born. So tumetumia wimbo as a punchline. Then you can just decide to sing a song that is funny. A story is told about a lady who went to the pastor, akauliza pastor, "Pastor, nitajuaje mimi ni mjamzito?" Pastor akaanza kumwimbia, "Ukiona umetema mate, jua umeshika ukiona umetema mate, jua ukiona umetema mate." Asante. Now the last one, parody. There's a popular song we like to sing with that friend of mine who is mad, Ayuko, and you will help me, Agonge moja mayai boil. And then you make sure you harmonize, Agonge moja mayai boil. Agonge moja mayai boilo. Lakini moja haitoshi wewe. Now you say haitoshi. Lakini moja haitoshi wewe. Mayai moja haitoshi wewe. Ndio maana tunasema gonge mbili. Ndio maana tunasema agonge moja mayai boil. Agonge moja mayai boilo. Lakini moja haitoshi wewe. Lakini moja haitoshi wewe. Ndio maana tunasema gonge mbili.
Ndio maana tunasema gonge mbili. Thank you. Now, we talked about, thank you, Bob. I mentioned a term, bombing. Some jokes bomb. Some of mine have bombed here. I'm not of times, but tunaendelea. Sometimes the bombing of a joke is not the fault of the comedian. You know, if it is not the comedian, then you know whose fault it is. Now, sometimes because of overdone or stale jokes, jokes ambazo zimeshafanywa mara nyingi mpaka imechoka. I don't want to give an example. Okay, or poor vocal delivery. A very hilarious joke can bomb if poorly delivered. If the vocal delivery does not bring out the humor, then the joke bombs. Then poor plotting. Poor plotting. I have an uncle who strongly believes that reading improves memory. So one time I meet this uncle of mine, he's 90 plus, and he's a strong believer in reading, that reading improves memory. So one time I meet him with his wife along the street and tells me, Otieno, you know what, I've been telling you reading improves memory. You know what, recently I read a book by so the man is struggling to remember the title of the book, and the wife is looking at him, a book by, then he asks me, by the way, Otieno, what is the name of this flower that sometimes kuna red, sometimes pink? What is the name of that flower? They tell him, Rose. Oh, yes. He turns to his wife, Rose, what was the title of that book that I read? That is how reading improves his memory. Now look at that. Look at that setup and that punchline. Suppose I had said that this uncle of mine had a wife called Rose. Then the punchline would not have worked. You see, the fact that you postpone that information makes the joke work. So sometimes some jokes bomb because some information that is meant for the punchline is already included in the setup. Then stereotypical jokes, the stereotype, they bomb. Wajaluo wanasema ugali na fisi. Does anybody still laugh at that? Wajaluo ugali na fisi. Waluya, simu ya Waluya kaangalia simu ni emoji ya kuku. Ndio sijui what. Okay? Those don't work. And then offensive jokes. If you offend members of the audience, then your joke is likely to bomb. People are very sensitive. Remember we said, for a comedy to work, the audience normally feels united. They feel they have a sense of unity. They are enjoying the presentation. So if you attack one of them, if you walk to an audience and you find a member of the audience is gray-haired, he's graying all over, and you ask him, hey, na wewe, kwani hivyo ndio umekaa umepitia kisagi? How would you ask? Why would you ask a member of, and you have not planned that? Umepitia oregorego ndio umekaa hivyo, ama hivyo ndio umekaa, hivyo ndio unakaa. You are being offensive, and you offend one person in the audience, you have offended, and that joke will bomb. Dry and hidden jokes. Dry and hidden jokes. I wanted to give a joke on a construction site, but then they are still working on it. Okay? If you don't get it, forget about it. Practical tips, practical tips on how to generate laughter. Remember, the CEO of KICD said something, he gave a line that stuck in my mind. He said, when we are training our learners, let you strive to be a guide by the side and not a sage on the stage. Strive to be a guide by the side, not a sage on the stage. So, one of the practical tips is get the routine, get the jokes from the learners themselves. Let them be the ones to get the jokes. Don't impose yours on them. What you find hilarious might not make sense to them. You can have what in comedy, in the area of comedy is called open mic sessions, where you have people, the learners just sharing jokes. Let them come and give their lines. And from there, you will identify comedians. You will discover that the learner who seems to be the funniest, who seems to be provoking laughter all over, all the time, might not be a stage performer. It happens. On the other hand, you might find that a learner who can be very good in stage, in normal day-to-day life, they cannot make anybody laugh. So it is up to you as the director to find ways of identifying good performers. And even there are some who might not be good performers, but they have lines, they have routines, they have jokes which the others can use. So source widely. Apart from just from the learner, source widely, and then you can share them. Once you get a joke, you can share with the learners and see whether they appreciate it. AI. Yesterday I just tried to look for a joke in AI, a joke about a workshop. And it gave me a joke about somebody going for a workshop with a ladder because they wanted to move to a higher level of knowledge. You see? Now such a joke, you can find a way of twisting it so that it becomes a bit in your routine. Okay? Even everyday events, common events like this can give you bits and jokes. It was said here yesterday, the day we were beginning, that people should put their phones on silent mode. Then I just imagined I saw someone walking out very fast, and you know they were seated in the middle, so they are pushing and they had to get space, they had to move around and get space, and they seemed to be moving quite, it was quite urgent for them. So I imagined what could happen. Maybe this person has heard that simu ziweke silent, but this person forgot the phone kwa gari, so anaenda kiweka silent huko. So that gave me an idea. You see, you can get a joke even from that. So source widely. When Equity was presenting here, I could imagine, I remembered a joke where somebody who keeps on checking your balance. Towards the end of the month, you expect some money melipwa pale. So keep on checking your balance. Unapata ni 47 bob. Asubuhi 47 bob. Saa 8 47 bob. Jioni tena bado 47. Mpaka bank inakuandikia message, if you can't trust us with 47 shillings. Ichukue. Enda nayo. We are concerned about your frequency of checking your balance. Can't you trust us with your 47 shillings? Okay? Tips 20. Establish rapport with the audience. I think I've implied this. Establish rapport with the audience. The audience will laugh at your jokes if they like you and if they see you like them. That is why you will find most comedians come and say, hello, you look good. Mwah, you look nice. You see, that's a way of trying to establish rapport. You look nice, you look good. You are trying to be friendly. In our human nature, we are more likely to laugh at jokes of people we like. Sometimes you can even find ways of involving them by raising something controversial. As Nyaye yuko karibu hapa. Nyaye, kimbia ungekuwa umefika hapa. As Nyaye will demonstrate how you can involve the audience by raising something controversial and you get their attention. It could be controversial but not necessarily abrasive. As Nyaye is going to demonstrate very fast in a minute.
So why have you chosen me? Do I look like a person without praying? Daktari. Saseni, mko poa? Hebu salimia mwenzako mwambie uko poa. Salimia mwenzako mwambie uko poa. Sasa jamaa, kuna hii msemo hata imerudiwa hapa. Behind every successful man there is who? Why woman? Why woman? Hakuwezi kuwa na mwanaume huko nyuma? Si mimi nimeitwa na mwanaume mwenzangu, daktari, are you a woman? So hii kitu ibadilishwe bana. Ama watu waambie yule mwanamke anafanya nini huko nyuma, si ndio? Ibadilishwe hii. Lakini hata hivyo, speaking of ladies, hawa watu ni watu wazuri sana. If you are seated next to a lady, mwambie you are special. Mwambie you are ma. Si ni wazuri sana? Hawa watu wametujali sana bwana. Angalia vile tulivyo, ni hao. Wametuzaa, wametulea, wanatupikia vizuri. Nyumbani kuna amani, si ndio? Hii amani toeni. Hii amani toeni. Lakini ni watu wazuri sana. Hata hivyo, I have a challenge to ladies in the house. Tafadhali, let us behave like the ladies in the Bible. Wanawake waliotajwa kwa Bible ni wazuri sana. Ni wakarimu, they are very understanding. Mfano, bibi ya Yona. Si mnajua Yona? Bibi ya Yona. Yona alitumwa na Mungu, akakaidi, akaenda kupiga sherehe. Alipopanda meli ikaanza kuyumba, si ndio? Akajua ni yeye anasababisha, akasema nirusheni baharini. So Yona akarushwa baharini, akamezwa na samaki. Try to imagine, akamezwa na samaki. Siku ya kwanza, the wife was waiting patiently. Siku ya pili, the wife was waiting patiently. Siku ya tatu, Yona yuko kwa samaki tu, yuko hapo. Hawezi text, hawezi fanya nini. Samaki ikamtema siku ya tatu. And he came home. Kufika pale, mme wangu, karibu, ulikuwa wapi? Nitakusimulia vizuri tu. Kuna mambo yamenifika sana. Nakamwambia sawa, wacha basi nikutayarishe uoge, uwe msafi, ule. Akaogeshwa, akalishwa, baadaye anauliza, haya, niambie ulikuwa wapi? Sasa try to imagine Yona explaining to his wife, nilimezwa na samaki. Nikakaa ndani ya samaki siku 3. Samaki akanitabika. Ndio maana unaniona hapa. Mke, I'm sorry babe. Akamhagi vizuri. Njoo kwa kina Lilian Kapeku. Uta explain nini? Utaanza vipi? Thank you very much. Mzee Mzima Nyaya here.
Thanks, Mzee Mzima. So one way of getting the audience attention is raising something controversial, which is not necessarily abrasive, but something that will interest them as happened. Now, as you have said, moderation, then infuse current topics and trending terminology in the jokes. You know that. Another, relevant content. Don't need to overemphasize this. Relevant content that's relevant to the audience, relevant to the performer. A grade junior school, perhaps a relevant one that someone shared with me was learners who are being prepared for composition writing. And the only way they have been prepared is by cramming similes as quick as her, as proud as her, and all that. Then wakati wa assessment ni recipient inakuja. Na huku umeplan, umecram masimiles. Sasa inabidi ufanye nini? Ni recipe how to prepare. When you are cooking, you add tomatoes as slowly as a tortoise, so as to prevent the fat from jumping, to prevent the oil from jumping as fast as a hare. Sio joke, hiyo joke zimebamba. Mbona mcheki bwana? I expected you to be rolling on the floor with laughter. Okay? Rehearse to internalize the setup. Like that joke, if you were to use that joke of hair and similes, then it will need the performer to internalize the wording. For it to come out, the wording must be done carefully. Okay? So memorize the punchline word for word for effect. Especially if you are sure, if your performer is not very fluent, then they might need to internalize or even memorize. Okay? Then next, try out jokes with different audiences. A joke that might be very hilarious in your school might not move people in another audience. So as you are preparing for the festival, try it with other people. Then study the audience and auditorium just before performance. You watch the Kamokorino here. You saw? That means they had already seen that the portrait of the president is there. You see, they used that in their bits. They used the positioning of the cameraman and the photographers in the audience. So being able to study the audience, the space, the auditorium before performing can give you ideas, and those ones score highly. It shows a high degree of creativity and improvisation, something that you are not planned, but you have used it because you have observed the director, you have observed that so and so is seated in the audience, I could use them. Okay, so it gives an impression of creativity and spontaneity. Then involving audience, you have seen that, but involving audience does not mean harassing them. Do not keep on asking them to repeat, because you will lose the goodwill. Every time, oh, semeni hivi, oh, and you give them some very length, mouthful things to repeat. Hey, ebu ambia neighbor wako hii show, hii comedy imechachawiza kushinda ile imepita. Every minute, hey, ambia neighbor wako hii show imechachawiza kuruka kushinda ile imepita. If you have to repeat that every 2 minutes, then you will lose the goodwill. Okay? I hope you are awake. I know some, you know what I know is that some people in this afternoon, there's some people who are so good at sleeping during presentations. They are so good that they can even sleep with their eyes closed. But not here. Okay? Well-timed poses, a well-timed pose. We have talked about that. Songa mbele kidogo. Poses to give the audience time to laugh. If you put a bit inside laughter, then they miss some important aspects of a setup. So well-timed poses also work. The pose can serve two purposes. One, to give the audience time to laugh, and secondly, to give those ones who did not get the joke waifikirie polepole, oh, kumbe kuna kajoke hapo. You see, so that silence, that pause can serve those two purposes. And then using relevant, using relevant segues. We have talked about that. Segues like, do you remember a segue in any of the clips we watched here? Anybody remember a segue that was used? Ambia neighbor wako ni kubaya. That was a segue. That was being used between the beats. You can use that. You can have something that the audience responds to. That can be a segue. You can have a song, something to join the beats. You can even have a connecting idea. Talking of, as Nyai has done here very well, talking of ladies. You see, he talked about the importance of ladies. Then he says, he moves from talking about behind every man there is a lady. He wanted to bring in the issue of Jonah and the wife. So he said that and moves to talking of ladies, we have this and this. So that's a segue, moving from one bit to another. Okay? Then use self-deprecation humor. Do you know that Bob is corrective, self-deprecating humor? In other words, unajireduce, wewe ndio onekane fala. Mimi, I was in that, I was in this and this. Baba yangu alituita mimi na brother yangu akituambia jinsi amechoka na sisi inafaa tujitegemee. Tujue kujitegemea. Ameshatusomesha, so we should now leave the house, tuende tujitegemee nje. Na sasa baba akiongea nikasikia mbwa inabweka nje. Sijui nini kunafanyika. Na huko baba ametuambia vile it's important, you have raised you, have paid your fees, it's time you become self-reliant. So you should be going, na bado mbwa inabweka nje. Baba amezidi hapa. So nikamwambia bro, sikia mbwa. And that is how nimehamishwa kwetu. Now, if that joke, kama umeishika, if that joke was, bradangu akaniambia, sikia umbwa, bradangu akafukuzwa, it would not have been as hilarious as ni mimi, ndio nikasema, sikia umbwa, nikafukuzwa. So when the joke is on you, the humor has more effect. Okay? What to avoid, namaliza in a few, sijali. What to avoid at all costs clowning, unnecessary clowning. Why should you bring presenter on stage, amefunga shati imekaa hivi? Is there a reason? Unless you are talking about a tailor, ama something, unless it is directly connected to the beats. What are you talking about? Mbona akuje na socks moja imekaa fupi, ingine huko na ingine refu? Mbona avae hivyo? Is there a reason? You see, the lady, the Makamokorino, gave a reason for a kilemba. Msione hii kilemba sio bure, saa zingine nakwanga na B. See, if you had more time, you should have seen where she ended up saying, hata nilifanya mtihani na sikuwa na A, nilikuwa na B. To complement the Nabism that she was talking about. Okay, so avoid clowning, because it also gives comedy the idea that ni watu unhinged, ni watu sio serious. Ukiingia amekuja amevaa shati, sijui amevaa sijui nini, amevaa some clownish, almost the grotesque. Okay? Then avoid embarrassing people in the audience. Unless you have pre-planned it, unless you have planned it with a member. Don't go asking people, wewe mama, umeoa? Uko na bibi wangapi? A member of the audience umuulize hivyo mlijuana wapi? Don't take such liberties unless you had planned it before. Because when you do that, you annoy the audience and you lose their goodwill. Avoid panicking. When a joke bombs, avoid panicking. Wacha tu assume hao ndio wakuelewa, hao ndio wakushika, wewe endelea. Then avoid explaining the joke. Unaona akishika, yani amuoni hapo kuna kitu fani. Amuoni huyu amesema ati umbwa na hii ilikuwa ni hii, umbwa ilikuwa ni nje, babaka afikiri enda naitwa umbwa. Amuoni hiyo ni joke. Don't explain. Wakishindwa kushika, wacha wakae. Okay? So do not explain. Remember, the joke should be at the level of the learner. Kama wewe na kuamuse na I amuse huyu, they will not be enthusiastic. They will not be enthusiastic in delivering it. At the university level, I expect more mature jokes. The professor was very angry because the students were wasting time going to a strip. There's a strip club outside Pwani University, hapo Kibaoni. There's a place called Kibaoni. There's a strip club outside there. So students wanaenda ukila. So the professor was complaining, "No, you students, when are we giving assignments, instead of sitting and doing your assignments, you're always going to the strip club at Kibaoni. Where are our university students heading to?" And then so, to the strip club in Kibaoni. Sasa hiyo ni level hiyo. Avoid deliberately breaking rules. There's something that I am about to mention. Comedy inataka watu wawili. Nyinyi mmeingia alafu mmesema DJ weka ngoma na tayari mko wawili kwa stage. Hapo si mnaona kuna shida. And we have seen that. And interestingly, some of these items have gone through to many levels up to the regionals and nationals. Na unasikia watu wawili comedians na wameambia DJ aweke mziki huko nyuma. Rules, beware of those rules. So those scoring, tuende tumemaliza those things you can see in the rule book. Choice of subject matter, how familiar is it the current audience, originality, the question of originality. How original is original? Okay? And that means you as an adjudicator and you as a director be exposed. If you can't produce comedy kama wewe husomi jokes, ziko nyingi siku hizi. Just go to Google, whatever, any search engine, utapata jokes, ziko nyingi. And you will also know kama mtu amekopi word for word. As an adjudicator, you will also need to know that. Use of language, hizo ziko hapo. Coherence and connectedness of jokes. I saw a team that had very good beats, but the problem is that the beats are totally unconnected. Hii inaongea juu ya kitu ingine, hii inaongea juu ya kitu ingine. In KNDFF, we want the jokes, the beats to be connected by the theme. Presentation, does it elicit genuine laughter? Again, those are issues. How do you tell as an adjudicator that the laughter is genuine? How do you tell? Okay. Evidence of internalization, not cramming. Spontaneity. Use of voice and sound effect, those are things you can check. Hii time yangu naona nitanyongwa hapa. Costume and props, relevance. Yes. Again, this is, I repeat this for emphasis. Do not clown. Do not bring unnecessary props. Wale, the twin comedians used a clock, and they used it very well, because they were infusing it in their lines and say, "Oh, keeping time, passing time." See, that worked. It worked. Then achievement. What about society have we learned? You can't come to perform on stage and every performance, every beat and every joke is about things inside the hall, in the auditorium. Then what had you prepared for outside? What had you rehearsed outside? If you come and every joke is about the fans that inaenda hivi, watu wameketi, then ulikuwa umerehearse nini ukuje kufanya hapa? Okay? So there should be something that the routine is telling us. Songe tumalize. Food for thought. How original is original? Then, as an adjudicator, ask yourself, should the time, because how long should stand-up comedy last?
5 minutes.
Yes. How long?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Now suppose kama hiyo tumeona ya Kamukurino, watu wamecheka for almost 30 seconds. Will you penalize? Alafu performance iende mpaka 7 minutes. Utawakata 2 minutes?
Yes.
Utawakata 2 minutes?
No.
It is the effectiveness of the joke that has extended the laughter. In other words, it's a sign of success. Do you punish them for succeeding in generating long laughter?
No.
Those are things that you need to consider. Then, when there's no audience, and this now to the festival organizers, you might not want to give comedy asubuhi saa ile watu wakuna kwa audience. Because now if it's only the comedian and the adjudicators, so, and the comedy is supposed to generate laughter. So perhaps you need to consider that. And also don't put it at the end. People are leaving. Maybe organizers should consider that. And then the differing sense of humor among the adjudicators. Sometimes adjudicators have different senses of humor. Aoni kama kitu inachekesha. Let me give you an example. In a festival, a comedian asked, kwa nini police stations zimepakwa rangi kama flag ya Germany? Kwa nini police stations zimepakwa, police stations za Kenya zimepakwa rangi ya flag ya Germany? Hamjui? Alafu akasema ni kwa vile mtu wao akishikwa wanaambia polisi, jamani, mmenishika mnanipeleka wapi? Jamani. So one adjudicator was dying with laughter. But the co-adjudicator found that slapstick. Sasa ni nini? And in fact, he was wondering that the colleague was laughing. Nini unacheka sasa hapo? Nini ya kuchekesha hapo? So those are some challenges that we need to be aware of. In fact, alikasirika na mwenzake anasema hao watu, these people are just joking. Sasa see, that is what they're supposed to do. At this team, this is just a big joke. But that is what they're supposed to do. But those are the things that happen. Okay? So, food for thought. So I finish by saying that making people laugh is no joke. Provoking laughter is no joke. But again, learn to laugh at yourself, my friends. Never take life too seriously. After all, you will never get out of it alive. May God bless you.
Very well, very well. I believe that Dr. Agwings has moved our industry to the other side of the world. Allow me to welcome Madam Pauline Mburia to appreciate our speaker who has just left the stage. Madam Pauline, she does it very well. Karibu.
Thank you, Kami, because of believing in me. Daktari, we want to see you. Tafadhali simama hapa. Thank you, because he's done well. Even if you have not laughed, it's because I don't know what's happening in drama this time. Can we all stand up? All of us. At least, daktari usitoke hapo. Tafadhali tusimame tumwambie kitu. Si ni kweli? Watu wajacheka. Because ambia rafiki yako triki sana. Umwangalie mwambie triki sana. Kuchekesha ni nini? Ni triki sana. Because actually you had given us so many jokes, but it is good too. And now I also want now, what you're going to do, we are going to sing the song that the young man has sung. Come here. I'll give you the melodies. Daktari, you stop here, we want to sing for you. Now, tufanya hivi. We are blessing him, we are blessing him. Now the song is...
Okay. Hiyo wimbo ni ameweza daktari, ameweza daktari wewe, ndio maana ati agongewe nini?
That's a joke. Tunasema kuchekesha ni ngumu. Kuchekesha ni ngumu
ngumu sana. Kuchekesha ni ngumu wewe, ngumu sana. Kuchekesha ni ngumu wewe, ndio maana tunasema ameweza. Tunasema ameweza. ameweza. Za daktari wewe, ameweza. Daktari wewe, ameweza. Daktari wewe, kuchekesha ni ngumu we, kuchekesha ni ngumu wewe. Ndio maana tunasema ameweza, maana tunasema. Now, kuna kitu Agwins alisema, alisahau, aliniambia hapo nje, alisema the way to a man's heart is through. So ladies, cook for your men, si ndio? And the same way, the way to a man's, if the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, the way to a woman's heart is through her legs. Mununulie viatu mpya, atakupenda zaidi.
Basi, asante sana. Yes, that was great. Haya. Yes. Okay. Lastly, we have had the laugh. Deputy President, kindly come over at the technical. This juncture, I'll return back the mic to Mr. Okech to tell us the next step. Okwachu, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Calvin. We appreciate facilitating this afternoon and the entire crew that took us through. I don't know, from the President and the Deputy, do you have something before I make a final announcement? Murigi, Vice President, do you have something to say?
Asante sana Mr. Okwacho. Ningependa kuwakumbusha kwamba iwapo mngetaka kuhudhuria Baba Night, wala wako interested, kuna Baba Night na registration ni shilingi 800 pekee. Madam Sheila from Kisumu, uko wapi? Simama wakuone tafadhali, kuja kidogo, harakisha tafadhali kidogo. Wale ambao mngetaka kuhudhuria Baba Night ambayo inafanyika kesho 25th kuanzia 7 PM pale Dondes. Na ngapi wanajua mahali Dondes iko? Mnajua Dondes ine? Itakuwa inafanyika pale. Iwapo ungetaka kuhudhuria Baba Night tafadhali, and you have your 800 bob, honor Madam Sheila from Kisumu Girls for registration. Sawa? Mko interested? Kuna wale wangetaka kujoin? Tafadhali mnaombwa, na posta iko hapa. Registration it's only 800 shillings. Kwa hivyo iwapo uko interested, ongea na Madam Sheila. Asanteni sana.
Hello. Hi. Someone has asked what is the 800 for? The 800 is just for meals. That is a meal. There'll be meat or chicken or fish. So you choose one. Then there's refreshments. This is either water or soda. Then there are also performance that will be there. That means the entertainment that is there. Ile ingine ya high stools, so tunaweza toa mfukoni. Wale ambao tunaendanga kwa high stool tunajua kwamba 800 is not enough for that and a meal, sindio? Yeah, so kindly you are all welcome. Tomorrow, Donde ziko pale Kondele before you reach at the flyover. Just when you reach the flyover, Donde ziko hapo. If you're going this way, on your left. From here it's just 50 shillings on a boda. Huwezi potea. Karibuni nyote.
Asante, mmekaribishwa pale Baba's Night Dinner pale Dondes. Tangazo lingine ni kwamba naambiwa Annington, kama umechukua rule book yake tafadhali niletee. imeandikwa jina yake Hannington, uniletee tafadhali. Ukipata popote tafadhali niletee, nitampatia. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. After this, we'll have our tea and a snack, and then we shall proceed to our special interest groups. And they're exactly where they were yesterday. These two blocks, both the first floor and the ground floor and the first floor. I will proceed there. Then tomorrow we are starting at exactly 7:55. We'll be singing the anthem, so we keep time. So at this juncture, our spiritual leader pray for us as we go for tea and break for our special interest groups. Maombi ya kumaliza ama tuko hapo? Our spiritual leaders, one of you come, just put us before God as we leave. Tungojeni tafadhali, just 1 minute. Tuombe tukiondoka. Tulianza na maombi, tubalize na maombi.
Father Lord, we bless you as you are going to take it. In Jesus' name I pray.
Thank you. We can go for tea, we can go have tea, then you go to a special interest groups.
Niliziona kwa ile where you send me. Nice.